In the immediate aftermath of the peaceful conquest of Mecca, the Arabian Peninsula stood on the edge of a profound transformation. Tribes that had long aligned with the Quraysh, the once dominant opposition to Islam, began to reevaluate their alliances. The momentum behind Muhammad and his message had reached unprecedented heights. With Mecca under Muslim control and the Kaaba restored to monotheism, the unification of Arabia under a single spiritual and political authority seemed within reach. Yet amid this rising tide of allegiance and faith, a final and determined resistance surfaced, one that would test the unity and strength of the early Muslim community. The Battle of Hunayn, fought just weeks after Mecca's fall, became one of the most dramatic and instructive confrontations in Muhammad's military campaigns. It was more than a clash of arms. It was a moment of reckoning, a confrontation of faith, leadership, discipline, and overconfidence. The battle revealed both the vulnerabilities and the resilience of a movement still finding its footing amidst a rapidly changing landscape. The tribes of Hawazin and Thaqif, long-standing powerhouses in the central and western Arabian islands, watched the conquest of Mecca with deep alarm. Rather than submit, they saw the expanding influence of Islam as an existential threat to their autonomy, traditions, and political dominance. Refusing to yield without a fight, they formed a united front and assembled a large coalition of warriors. They brought with them not only seasoned fighters, but also their families and livestock, a sign that they were prepared to defend their way of life or perish in the attempt. The battlefield they chose was Hunayn, a narrow valley surrounded by rugged terrain, well suited for an ambush. Muhammad, now commanding an army of approximately 12,000 men, including many recent converts from Mecca, began marching toward the enemy. It was the largest force he had ever led. For the first time, numerical superiority favored the Muslims. Confidence surged within the ranks. Some of the newer recruits, less experienced in warfare and deeply moved by the grandeur of their victory at Mecca, believed the battle would be swift and decisive. But the enemy had prepared a trap. As dawn broke over the valley, the Muslim army entered Hunayn unaware of the peril that awaited. The Hawazin and Thaqif warriors, hidden in the cliffs and crevices, launched a sudden, thunderous assault. Arrows rained down in torrents. War cries echoed off the rocks. The element of surprise threw the Muslim ranks into disarray. Panic gripped many, especially the newer converts, who fled in confusion. Horses bolted, supply lines were broken, and for a moment, it appeared as though the entire army might crumble under the ambush. Amid the turmoil, Muhammad remained mounted, unshaken, surrounded by a small group of loyal companions. He called out to his men with unwavering resolve. He summoned them back by name, appealing to their courage, their faith, and their memory of past victories. Veterans from the battles of Badr and Uhud responded. These seasoned fighters, hardened by trials and forged in the early days of persecution, began to rally around their leader. With calm determination, Muhammad restructured his ranks. The army began to regroup. The tide of battle slowly shifted. As formations reformed and cohesion returned, the Muslims launched a counteroffensive. The veteran warriors surged forward with precision and resolve. The ambushers were now exposed and vulnerable. What had begun as a deadly trap for the Muslims quickly turned into a disaster for their enemies. The counterattack was powerful and relentless. The Hawazin and Thaqif lines broke. Many were killed, others fled, and thousands were taken prisoner. Among the captives were women and children, along with vast herds of camels and sheep. The spoils of war were immense. It was a resounding victory, but one that came at the cost of an early humbling lesson. Yet even in victory, Muhammad showed remarkable restraint and foresight. He refused to exact mass retribution. Instead, He treated the prisoners humanely and initiated a dialogue with their tribal leaders. Eventually, many of the captives were returned, including family members who had been taken during the battle. This unexpected act of generosity and mercy stunned the defeated tribes. For many, it planted the seeds of reconsideration. In time, both the Thaqif and Hawazin would submit and accept Islam, not through compulsion, but through the power of leadership and grace. In the days that followed, Muhammad also took care to address the internal tensions among his own followers. Some of the older Ansar from Medina, who had been early supporters of the Prophet, began to express unease about the new favor shown to recent Meccan converts. Muhammad gathered them, explained the importance of unity, and reassured them of their irreplaceable role in the Islamic mission. His words restored harmony and ensured that the fragile unity forged through shared faith would endure. The Battle of Hunayn marked more than the collapse of a last significant pagan resistance. It served as a pivotal turning point in Muhammad's leadership and in the collective identity of the Muslim Ummah. For a community still healing from the divisions of the past and adapting to new alliances, Hunayn offers a sobering reminder that faith must be practiced not only in the mosque or in times of peace, but in the very heat of uncertainty and danger. The early moments of panic and disorder revealed how fragile even the most confident army could be when pride clouds preparation. What followed, however, was equally revealing. The rapid recovery, led by Muhammad, and the loyalty of the veterans who turned the tide of battle, demonstrated the profound strength that lay in unity, discipline, and spiritual commitment. In the face of near collapse, the Prophet's steadfastness became a beacon that recentered the entire force and reawakened the foundational values that had brought them together in the first place. It was a moment that reminded the Ummah that strength alone does not guarantee victory, and that humility, steadfastness, and trust in divine purpose are just as essential in triumph as they are in adversity. The legacy of Hunayn would echo in the hearts of believers for generations, as a testament to the importance of resilience, self-reflection, and the unbreakable bond between leader and community. Hunayn reminded the community that faith must be tested, and that leadership must be earned not just in conquest, but in crisis. It was a battle fought not only with swords, but with conviction, and it paved the way for the next phase of Muhammad's mission, the full unification of Arabia under a single creed and vision. In the next episode, we turn to the city of Taif, one of the last strongholds of resistance. After Hunayn, the Prophet set his sights on this fortified and influential city, determined to bring it into the fold of Islam. The siege that followed would prove challenging, and its outcome would carry lasting consequences for the future of the Arabian Peninsula.